Week 6. Understanding the Greek Gods. Greek gods were based on anthropomorphism, which is defined as the giving of human characteristics to non-human creatures, phenomena, objects, or abstract concepts. The idea is alive and well in the 20th century, as is demonstrated by manifestations as diverse as Beatrix Potter's Peter Rabbit and the famous statue of Justice atop the Old Bailey. The Greek gods were essentially two different sets of anthropomorphic manifestations, phenomena and abstract concepts. So, for example, Demeter, the corn goddess, personified the process by which seed became corn, while Hestia personified the abstract concept of domestic harmony. The interesting thing is that the more sophisticated class of Greek would agree that the gods were anthropomorphic creations. Even at the start of the 5th century, the philosopher Xenophanes of Colophon was arguing that the true nature of the divine was impossible for limited human minds to fully comprehend, and others turned the concept of anthropomorphism on its head by arguing that the gods appeared human because they chose to have a human aspect. As a brief digression, aspects were different roles taken by a single deity. Thus Zeus, the cloud-gatherer and god of storms, was also the protector of guests and hospitality. And Athena, here as imagined by Botticelli, could be both Athena Parthenos, the virgin goddess, and Athena Promachos, the lady of the battle line. So, the Greek gods, largely inscrutable and mysterious, had a human aspect specifically for the purpose of dealing with humans, who, being divine creations with indestructible souls, were partly divine as well. Greek mythology spends much time dealing with the human aspect of the gods, because the human aspect was very human, complete with human weaknesses and character defects. Yet the story of Semele tells us how far this was from representing the entire nature of the gods. Semele was a princess who had an affair with Zeus, since philandering was as much a part of Zeus's human character as jealousy was a part of his wife, Hera's. So Hera persuaded Semele that Zeus was not in fact king of the gods, but a human deceiver with a great chat-up line. She suggested that Semele challenge Zeus to reveal his true divine nature to her. Zeus had promised to grant Semele whatever she wished, so he had no choice but to obey. Exposed to the true nature of the divine, Semele was more or less vaporized by the radiance of the king of the gods. So the Greek gods are rather like a Klein bottle, something where the inside appears to be the outside and the outside is within. On the one hand, the gods are simply human names and faces put upon natural phenomena and concepts, and on the other, they are human names and faces put on something too sublime for immortal minds to grasp. And with, for example, Demeter, who personifies how a seed becomes a tree which turns flowers into fruit, we see how the natural and the sublimely complex can be one and the same. Another thing about the Greek concept of the divine is that there was no division between divine and mortal or divine and mundane. The gods were part of a continuum which ran right through the world of living things. At the top were the great gods, the 12, whom the ancients called the Olympian gods: Zeus, Hera, Apollo, Athena, Poseidon, Hades, and the other names, familiar even today. But there were also lesser gods, such as Aeolus, lord of the winds, and Hebe, goddess of youth, and primordial gods, such as Ether and Hyperion, who have little to do with humans, but were considered essential to the function of the universe. Then there were divine beings, such as Circe, witch queen, and Calypso, who mediated between mortals and immortals. Other creatures, such as centaurs, satyrs, nymphs, and dryads, were not necessarily more or less divine than humans, but simply different. So what all this means is that understanding how the Greeks saw their gods means that we have to learn a whole new set of concepts, not just about religion, but about the nature of divinity itself.